afternoon and a warm welcome to what is sure to be another very special Harcourts Rata & Co auction, number 13 Monterey Court in Mill Park. My name is Robert Ozzimo and I proudly represent the company of Harcourts Rata & Co. I'm joined here today by some of my award-winning team in blue, the best in the business, the best in the north. Should you require their advice, please feel free to approach either Rose, Sebastian, Mary, Daniel, and of course Ilia, and Marie is over there also, and of course Ilia and Lou Menkinoski, who no doubt you've had the great pleasure of meeting throughout the marketing campaign. Buyers, let me share with you now the following announcements which are in place to help you bid and buy with absolute confidence here today. The auction will be conducted in accordance with the rules and any additional conditions that remain available for inspection before the start of the auction. The auction rules prohibit an auctioneer from accepting bids or offers for a property after the property has been knocked down to the successful bidder. The vendors have a reserve price as the auctioneer. I'll indicate bidders on request. The law prohibits false bids, prohibits major disruptions by bidders, and prohibits bidders attempting to prevent others from bidding, and provides for fines for such conduct. The rules permit for vendor bids. The words I'll use during the auction to indicate that I'm making a bid on behalf of the vendor are vendor bid, and by law only I, as the auctioneer, can make a vendor bid. The contract of sale has been on display prior to today's auction. We call for a 10% deposit upon the fall of the hammer and the signing of that contract here today, with the balance to be paid at settlement in a flexible 30 to 60 days time, at which time the vendor will provide the lucky buyer with vacant possession of the property. All in all, it's quite a straightforward document. Everything is in there. Everything is quite clear. Buyers, is with my highest recommendation what we offer for your consideration and competition here today. A perfect opportunity for the first home buyer, the perfect opportunity for an investor or you and your family here in Monterey Court. We can see, if we look up and down Monterey Court, how proud these owners are, because it is a special location. The street just has a really great feel to it, and we are located so central to absolutely everything. Not only do we have the best of Mill Park at our doorstep, but we've also got easy access to the best of Epping, the best of Layla and Thomastown, and not far away at all from Bandura. So in terms of location, it really is quite unique, and all of that infrastructure that all provides underpins capital growth. So you can buy with security today, knowing that you're securing your future through future capital growth. The property itself immaculately maintained by the current owner. It's just got that warm, homely feeling from the moment you walk through the door. And right now, buyers, is the opportunity to make it your own home by and get the sold sticker up on the board. So if you'd like to do just that, now is the time, buyers. Where can I see a fair and reasonable starting bid for 13 Monterey? Who'd like to start us off? I don't mind the call. Start me where you like. This is your moment, your time, buyers. I've had my say, time for you to have yours. We've got a very reasonable reserve price in place here today to get the job done. A reserve price for you to take advantage of and get your job done, get the sold sticker up. This is the time, buyers. I don't mind the call. I'm in your hands. Who'd like to start us off? Always takes a bit of courage to raise your hands first at an auction. This is your moment. 600. At 600,000, a bit light on though. At 600,000, I will take that bid at 600,000. As I said, I didn't mind the call, but I will place a vendor bid at the bottom of the range at 690,000 and invite you back in for 700 if you like. So 690,000, my bid against yours at 690 now. At 690,700 if you like. At 690 the bid. At 690,000, fairly bid and offered now at 690 the bid. At 690,000. At 690,000, looking for an even 7 in the rise. At 700,000, welcome, best of luck at 700. At 700,000, 10 now, 710. At 710,000, it's 10 here. At 710. At 720 now, 720,000. At 720,000, 30 if you like. At 730, 720. At 720,000, fairly bid offered now. 720 the bid. At 720,000, got to be 30 now. At 720,000 once. At 30 now, and welcome back at 30. At 730,000, 40 if you like. 730 in the bid. See at 730 the bid. At 730,000, fairly been offered bid here, my right, your left. Opportunity with you now. At 730,000. At 30, I'm taking 10, so got to be 40 in the rise. At 740 now got. At 740. At 740,000, 50 got now. At 750,000. At 750,000, the quick retort at 50. Opportunity back with you at 50. Got to be 10. At 750,000, make it 60. At 750,000. At 750,000, fairly been offered now. 750 the bid. Once at 750,000, done. At 750,000. Second call at 750 the bid. Done. Finished at $750,000 a bid for the third. I refuse the five over here. Got to be 10, so 750,000. At 750,000, bid there in the centre, opportunity on either side, but I'll give it 10 in the rise. At 750,000, perhaps you two should get together and give me 10. At $750,000 the bid. At 750,000, once at 750. At 750,000, twice at 750. Third, final call at 750,000. At 60, welcome back, sir. At 760,000, best of luck at 760 now. At 760,000, fairly been offered now. At 70 now, 770. At 770,000, the quick retort at 70 now. At 770,000, fairly been offered now. 770. At 770,000, the bids here, and dare I say, so are the keys because we are on the market. We do sell here today at 770,000. The bids with you, the keys are with you. We are on the market. We sell. If you're waiting for me to go inside and have a halftime break, there is no halftime break here today because my instructions have been sought, they have been given, they are to sell. We're on the market and selling, no second chances. If you come to buy, bid me now or forever hold your peace. We're on the market, we sell at 770,000, bids there. At 775 now, 7 3/4. At 775,000, you had those keys for a moment. If you want them for good, you have to bid me now. At 775,000, dig deep to buy. At 775 the bid. At 775,000, fairly been offered. Bids there, keys are there. At 775, sir, we're on the market now. I'll take the 80 if you don't mind, Sebastian. At 80 now. At 780,000. At 780,000, back against you at 80 in the bids there. The keys are there. They can be yours, but need to see interest here today. At 780,000, we're done over here. At 780, thank you very much for your interest here today. At 780,000, bids in the centre, keys are in the centre. At 780,000, once. At 780, all done. At 780,000, second call. At 780, done. Finish at 81 at 781. Don't know if it's going to put you in that good stead, sir, but it'll put you ahead for now. At 81 and 82 now. Got them down to ones. At 782,000. The bid's back here at 782. At 782,000. How about 85 in the rise? At 782 the bid. At 782,000. Call them later, sir, and tell them you've bought it. At 782. At 782,000. Bid there. Keys are there. We're on the market. We sell. At 782 the bid. First call at 782. All done. Second call at 782 the bid, done, finished. Third, final call, $782,000 the bid. At 83 now, and welcome back at 83. 85 at 785. At 785,000. Try a bigger bid, sir. Ones aren't working. At 785 and the bid's there. The keys are there. The opportunity's still with you. At 785,000. At 785 the bid. At 785,000. Fairly been offered now. 785 in the centre. Is that a bid forthcoming there, Dan? At 785,000. At 785,000. Back in the centre. Opportunity on either side. At 785 the bid. At 785,000. Once at 785, done. Second call at 785, done, finished. Third, final call at 785,000, all done, finished, silent out 785. Bids there, it's a great street. No traffic so far. Your kids can stand in the middle of the street and call an auction every Saturday if they like. At 785, bid there, need to know. At 785,000, so in or out? Definitely done? Yep. Thank you very much for being here today. At 785 the bid. 86 now at 786. Take me to 90. Let's get it done. At 786,000 and the bid's there. 786. 87 now at 787. At 787,000, fairly been offered now at 787. Can't buy like that, so only up and down, yes. At 787,000. At 787, bid here. Back against you at 787 the bid. Need to know, got to be decisive if you want to buy. Got to dig deep right now if you want to buy. At 787,000, the bid is here. The keys are here. We sell. 787 the bid. Once at 787, done. Twice at 787, done. Finished. Third, final call, $787,000 a bid. All done, all finished, silent, out. Definitely done there, sir. Thank you very much for your bidding once more. So if you tell me you're out, I'll sell here. Or give me another bid. You're definitely done? Thank you very much for your bidding here today. At 787,000, first call, second call, third, final call at 787. All done, all finished, all silent and out. We are selling. at 88. You lied to me, sir. I'll write you back in at 90 now, at 790,000. At 790,000 now. At 790 the bid. At 790,000, we're back here, back in the centre at 790. Keys are here again. At 790,000, but they're still in play. They can still be yours, sir. At 790,000, fairly been offered now at 790 the bid. At 790,000 out there in the centre we are, and need instructions over here at 790,000. Are you absolutely sure? You told me that before. At 790, I have some trust issues with you now, sir. At 790,000, the bid's here, the keys here. Are we definitely done this time? Thank you very much for your spirited participation here today. At 790, the bid once, twice, third, final call at $790,000. The bid all done, all finished, all silent, all out. We are selling, selling, selling. So, congratulations and well bid. Please join me in congratulating our purchasers and our vendors here today. You've just witnessed another successful Harcourts, Rata and Co auction. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. See you again soon. Thank you. Congratulations.